Act 1, Scene 1. I vow, Mr. Hardcastle, you're very particular. Is there a creature in the whole country but ourselves that does not take a trip to town now and then to rub the rust off a little? There's the two Miss Hoggs, and our neighbour, Mrs. Grigsby, go to take a month's polishing every winter. Aye, and bring back vanity and affectation to last them the whole year. I wonder why London cannot keep its own fools at home. In my time the follies of the town crept slowly among us, but now they travel faster than a stage-coach. Aye, your times were fine times indeed. You have been telling us of them for many a long year. Here we live in an old rumbling mansion that looks for all the world like an inn, but we never see company. Our only visitors are old Mrs. Oddfish, the curate's wife, and little Cripplegate, the lame dancing master, and all our entertainment, your old stories. I hate such old-fashioned trumpery. And I love it. I love everything that's old. Old friends, old times, old manners, old books, old wine, and I believe, Dorothy, you'll own I've been pretty fond of an old wife. Mr. Hardcastle, I promise you, I'm not so old as you'd make me by more than one good year. Add 20 to 20 and make money of that. Let me see. 20 added to 20 makes just 50 and 7. It's false, Mr. Hardcastle. I were but 20 when I were brought to bed of Tony, that I had by Mr. Lumpkin, my first husband, and he's not come to years of discretion yet. Nor ever will. I have taught him finally. No matter. Tony Lumpkin has a good fortune. My son is not to live by his learning. I don't think a boy wants much learning to spend 1,500 a year. Learning, quotha! A mere composition of tricks and mischief. Humour, my dear, nothing but humour. Come, Mr. Hardcastle, you must allow the boy a little humour. I'd sooner allow him a horse pond. If burning the footman's shoes, frightening the maids, and worrying the kittens be humour, he has it. It were but yesterday he fastened me wig to the back of me chair, and when I went to make a bow, I popped me bald head in Mrs. Frizzle's face. And am I to blame? The poor boy was always too sickly to do any good. A school would be his death. When he comes to be a little stronger, who knows what a year or two's Latin may do for him? Latin for him? A cat and fiddle? No, the alehouse and the stable are the only schools he'll ever go to. Well, we must not snub the poor boy now, for I believe we shan't have him long among us. Anybody that looks at his face may see he's consumptive. Aye, if growing too fat be one of the symptoms. He coughs sometimes. Yes, when his liquor goes the wrong way. I'm actually frightened for his lungs. And truly, so am I, for he sometimes whoops like a speaking trumpet. Oh, there he goes, a very consumptive figure truly. Tony, where are you going, my charmer? Won't you give Papa and I a little of your company, lovey? I'm in haste, mother. I cannot stay. You shan't venture out on this rare evening, my dear. You look most shockingly. I can't stay, I tell you. The three pigeons expects me down every moment. There's some fun going forward. Aye, the alehouse. I thought so. A low, paltry set of fellows. Not so low neither. There's Dick Muggins, the exciseman, Jack Slang, the horse doctor, little Aminadab that grinds the music box, and Tom Twist that spins the pewter platter. Pray, my dear, disappoint them for one night at least. As for disappointing them, I should not so much mind, but I can't be bad to disappoint myself. You shan't go. I will, I tell you. I say you shan't. Well, we'll see which is strongest, you or I. Aye, there goes a pair that only spoil each other. But is not the whole age in a combination to drive sense and discretion out of doors? There's my pretty darling Kate. The fashions of the time have almost infected her too. By living a year or two in town, she's as fond of gauze and French frippery as the best of 'em. Blessings on my pretty innocence. Dressed out as usual, my Kate? Goodness, what a quantity of superfluous silk hast thou got about thee, girl. You know our agreement, sir. You allow me the morning to receive and pay visits, and to dress in my own manner, and in the evening I put on my housewife's dress to please you. Well, remember, I insist upon the terms of our agreement. And by the by, I believe I shall have occasion to try your obedience this very evening. I don't comprehend your meaning. Kate, I expect the young gentleman I have chosen to be your husband from town this very day. I have his father's letter, in which he informs me that his son is set out, and that he intends to follow himself shortly after. Indeed? I wish I had known something of this before. Bless me, how shall I behave? It's 1,000 to 1 I shan't like him. Our meeting will be so formal, and so like a thing of business, that I shall find no room for friendship or esteem. Depend upon it, child, I'll never control your choice. But Mr. Marlowe, whom I've pitched upon, is the son of my old friend Sir Charles Marlowe. The young gentleman has been bred a scholar, and is designed for employment in the service of his country. I'm told he's a man of an excellent understanding. Is he? Very generous. Oh, I believe I shall like him. Young and brave. I'm sure I shall like him. And very handsome. My dear papa, say no more. He's mine. I'll have him. And to crown all, Kate, is one of the most bashful and reserved young fellows in all the world. Eh? You've frozen me to death again. That word reserved has undone all the rest of his accomplishments. A reserved lover, it is said, always makes a suspicious husband. On the contrary, modesty seldom resides in a breast that is not enriched with nobler virtues. It was this very feature in his character that first struck me. He must have more striking features to catch me, I promise you. However, if he be so young, so handsome, and so everything as you mention, I think I'll have him. Aye, Kate, but there's still an obstacle. It's more than an even wager. He may not have you. My dear papa, why will you mortify one so? Well, if he refuses, instead of breaking my heart at his indifference, I'll only break my mirror for its flattery, set my cap to some newer fashion, and look out for some less difficult admirer. Bravely resolved. In the meantime, I'll go prepare the servants for his reception. As we seldom see company, they want as much training as a company of recruits the first day's muster. Well, this news of papa's puts me all in a flutter. Young, handsome, these he put last, but I put them foremost. Sensible, good-natured, I like all of that. But then reserved and sheepish, that's much against him. Yet can't he be cured of his timidity by being taught to be proud of his wife? Yes, and can't I? But I vow, I'm disposing of the husband before I've secured the groom. I'm glad you're come, Constance. How do I look this evening? Is there anything whimsical about me? Is it one of my well-looking days? Am I in face today? Perfectly, my dear. Yet now I look again, bless me, sure no accident has happened among the canary birds or the goldfishes. Has your brother or the cat been meddling, or has your last novel been too moving? No, nothing is all that. I have been threatened. I can scarce get it out. I have been threatened with a husband. His name is Marlowe. Indeed, the son of Sir Charles Marlowe. As I live and breathe, the most intimate friend of Mr. Hastings, my admirer. They are never asunder. I believe you must have seen him when we lived in town. Never. He's a very singular character, I assure you. Among women of reputation and virtue, he's the most modest man alive. But his acquaintances report him a very different character among damsels of another stamp, you understand me. An odd character indeed. I shall never be able to manage him. What shall I do? Think no more of him. But how goes on your own affair? Has my mother been courting you for my brother Tony as usual? I have just come from one of our agreeable tete-a-tetes. She has been saying 100 tender things, and setting off her monster as the very pink of perfection. And her partiality is such that she actually thinks him so. A fortune like yours is no small temptation. Besides, as she has the sole management of it, I'm not surprised to see her unwilling to let it go out of the family. A fortune like mine, which chiefly consists in jewels, is no such mighty temptation. However, I let her suppose that I'm in love with her son, and she never once dreams that my affections are fixed upon another. My good step-brother holds out stoutly. I could almost love him for hating you so. He is a good-natured creature at bottom, and I'm sure would wish to see me married to anybody but himself.